And this is the scene at Pearson International Airport as the Queen bids farewell to Canada and Canada bids farewell to the royal couple. Her aircraft taxiing down the runway as she prepares to lift off for New York City, where in a couple of hours' time the Queen will address the United Nations. As I said, for the first time in more than 50 years, we will have continuing coverage of that and live coverage of the Queen's speech to the United Nations coming for you later on this afternoon. That should be shortly after 3 o'clock. You know, this woman has done more in 9 days than most of us managed to achieve in months. And today the Queen said farewell to Canada, but not before she performed one final royal duty. And our Genevieve Tomney has been hot on the Queen's heels for the last couple of days, and I do mean hot. For Genevieve is at Toronto's Pearson International Airport. This was, of course, the last stop on her royal tour, and the Queen was hard at it right up until the very last minutes. Genevieve, can you hear me?
Yes, on the blistering hot tarmac
Yes.
as the Queen's plane is just taxiing far off to my left down the runway, just getting ready to take off to New York. She spent a few brief moments here at Toronto's Pearson Airport, viewing a new badge and crest for the Canada Border Services Agency. She walked by, had a quick look. All of the agents were dressed in full uniform. They must have been far more sweltering than I am here. And then she went on to greet some dignitaries, including Prime Minister Stephen Harper, the Governor General, Michaël Jean, just back from China, to bid farewell to the Queen, and also the Mayor of Mississauga. We are in Mississauga right now, the city of Mississauga. Hazel McCallion, another well-known figure here, who's similar in age to the Queen. They
I was going to say,
quite a bit in common.
Might even be a little bit older than her. I'm not sure.
I think so. I think a few years, actually. I believe Hazel McCallion's 89. And, you know, a relentless tour for the Queen this entire time. If you remember back to 9 days ago, Harry, when she landed in Halifax in torrential, downpouring rain, and then now taking off from Toronto in this heat wave, throw a blackout in the middle of it, and plenty of tours and lots of people out to see her. It was quite an exciting trip.
Have to say, anyone who says this woman doesn't work for a living is sadly mistaken, because when you look at the amount of activity she's squeezed into a relatively short visit, it's amazing she has the energy to achieve all that she has achieved.
Well, and I think it goes to show her love for Canada, too. I mean, this is her 22nd visit to our country. She has visited us more than any other Commonwealth nation, and again, when she speaks to Canadians, she speaks of her love for this country and how it feels like home to her. And I think that's not lost on the people here, thousands who showed up, and also not lost on people the fact that these are the sunset years of the Queen, and I'm just getting a shot over there of the Queen's plane.
There she goes.
Taking off. And certainly many Canadians hoping that they will see the Queen on Canadian soil again. 2012 is her Diamond Jubilee, and we're expecting that she gets back here again so we can have another visit. So
the next stop for the Queen, the Big Apple, New York City. She will address later this afternoon at about 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 3:15 Eastern Time. She'll be addressing the United Nations. The last time she did that, 1957. She was a much younger woman then. And our David Common is on the ground. So, Genevieve, you've done yeoman service out there in the heat. I really appreciate that, and we'll talk to you again soon. Meanwhile, a quick flash down to New York City. David Common standing there. So, David, give us a rundown of Her Majesty's plans while she is in New York City.
Well, this is a hyper-brief visit. After 9 days in Canada, this will shape up to be about 5 hours in New York City, and it's not like she comes all that often. As you noted, Harry, the first time was 1957, and that was the last time she spoke to the United Nations. The most recent time was 1976. That's 34 years ago. So quite some time. She doesn't get here very often. Obviously, the Queen has some 2 billion subjects worldwide, but none of them are American citizens. They went through an awfully big war a couple of centuries back to avoid just that. And yet she remains quite popular. So on her schedule, she will speak at the United Nations, a couple of other ceremonies, but in total it's only about 40 minutes at the UN. From there, she shoots down to Lower Manhattan to Ground Zero to pay tribute to all those, of course, who were killed on 9/11, including 67 British citizens who are memorialized at a nearby park in Manhattan. The Queen will actually be opening that today, but she has not been here since those attacks in 2001. She, as I know, has not been here since 1976. So this is a rare opportunity and a rare event, certainly for the Big Apple here.
You know, David, you mentioned she isn't Queen of the United States. Obviously, that was settled, as you say, a couple of centuries ago. Nonetheless, she has a very loyal following down there. What are the expectations in terms of crowds turning out to see her when she arrives in New York?
You know, there's really limited opportunities for people to get a glimpse. The UN is a really closed security zone. We do expect people to be out on the avenue to watch her motorcade arrive. Ground Zero is still fenced in because it's a construction site. There is actually a lot of building. There's no longer a pit. But we do expect, again, people will be there. There will be a large number of people at this very small park trying to catch a glimpse. But the royal family remains very popular in the United States, despite the fact that it's not the monarch for this country. It doesn't represent anything beyond curiosity, amusement, something that represents another land. But she does remain popular here, as does the family. So we do expect a large number of people, a lot of press coverage already, Harry. Newspapers, television, running up for the past couple of days, actually, pictures of her visit in Canada.
No kidding. They do love their royalty in the United States. Thanks very much, David. David Common in New York.